14. One country has 14 different nations pressed against its land border, and China holds that record. Walk its frontier, and you'd pass 14 flags, from North Korea round to Afghanistan. But China doesn't hold the record alone, and the co-champion is the whole story. First, the rules. Only land counts on this map. A sea horizon is never a neighbor, however close it looks. Add up every land border on Earth, and you get roughly 251,000 kilometers of agreed line. That's more than 6 times around the planet, in fences, rivers, and ridgelines. Nearly every kilometer of it was argued over at least once. Now, the other end of the scale, 0. Japan holds 103 million people, and not a single land neighbor. No fence, no crossing point, no queue at dawn. Its nearest frontier is open water. Dozens of island nations live like this. Japan is simply the largest resident of the Zero Club. Australia takes it further. It's an entire continent with no land border at all, the only country that can say so. New Zealand, across the Tasman Sea, feels much the same. Australia has never once had a land border dispute because it has never once had a land border. Australians consider this excellent design. Then comes Canada, which has exactly one neighbor, but what a line it is. Canada and the United States share 8,891 kilometers of border, the longest on Earth. A 6-meter strip of felled trees runs along it, cut through the forest like a parting in hair. One neighbor, 9,000 kilometers of agreement. The United States itself has just 2 land neighbors, Canada and Mexico. That's the entire list. For a superpower of 340 million people, 2 oceans handle the rest of the guarding, which is a kind of geographic luxury. A continental fortress with exactly 2 gates. Most great powers never get that lucky. Now it gets crowded. India manages 6 neighbors and some of the tensest lines on the planet. Its border with Pakistan is floodlit so brightly that astronauts photograph it from orbit. Higher up, in the Himalaya, India and China patrol a line the 2 sides still don't agree on. Up here, a neighbor count is a security budget. Meanwhile, exactly 7 countries hold 8 neighbors apiece, the busy club. Turkey is the classic member, with 1 foot in Europe, 1 in Asia, and Greece, Iran and Syria all leaning on its fences. Austria collects its 8 quietly, in the middle of Europe. 8 neighbors means 8 histories, and 8 chances of a genuinely awkward summit. Germany goes one better. On 9, no country in Europe west of Russia has more. A century ago, nearly every one of those borders was a war waiting for a date, and twice it kept the appointment. Today, you can sleep across most of them on a night train and never show a passport. Same lines. Entirely different meaning. Africa's giant matches that. The Democratic Republic of the Congo touches 9 neighbors, from Angola all the way round to South Sudan. Most of those lines were drawn in Berlin in 1885 by diplomats who had never seen the Congo River. The borders arrived first. The countries had to grow into them. South America keeps 1 superconnector. Brazil borders 10 countries, every nation on the continent except Chile and Ecuador. That's 16,885 kilometers of frontier, much of it rainforest where the border is a river or a rumor. Only 2 countries on Earth beat Brazil's count, and they happen to be rivals. At the top, with 14 neighbors, stands Russia. 1 country runs from Norway's Arctic fence all the way round to a short railway bridge into North Korea. Its border with Kazakhstan alone is 7,644 kilometers, the longest unbroken line between any 2 nations. 14 neighbors, 11 time zones, 1 extremely long fence. But 2 of Russia's 14 never touch Russia proper. Poland and Lithuania only meet it at Kaliningrad, a piece of Russia stranded on the Baltic when the Soviet Union came apart, a chunk of 1 country marooned between 2 others. Cartographers call it an exclave. Everyone else calls it complicated. And tied at the top, China, also on 14. The country that built a great wall to manage its neighbors now has more of them than anyone. Its land frontier runs 22,457 kilometers, the longest of any nation. One neighbor, Afghanistan, hangs on by a mountain corridor just 91 kilometers wide. So China shares the crown with Russia, 14 apiece, by the CIA's own count. And the quiet punchline is this: the 2 most bordered countries on Earth are each other's neighbors, along roughly 4,200 kilometers of river and steppe, two empires, back to back, 14 and 14. So, from 0 to 14, Japan never signs a border treaty. China and Russia keep 14 each, and still found room to share one more line between themselves. Every border on this map is a promise between strangers. This far, no further. Borders aren't really walls. Mostly, they're agreements. Next time, the beer capital of the world.